Hey everybody, Anthony Dodge, Model Train Outsider here with a video that very few people watch and even fewer will watch to the very end. I want to talk about song parody videos. I've gotten questions and comments again because I get new people joining the channel and they kind of have that WTF, what the is this, you know? So let me answer some of these quick questions. All right, the reason we do parody videos is because it's something I've done my whole life. Okay, and a lot of people out there have done it too. You hear a song and you just change the lyrics and make it funny. All right, we've all done it. I'm a creative writer, I'm a published writer, blah, 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 blah. And I also am a failed comedian, but I still aspire to make people laugh. So we do them to make people laugh, and I put them on this channel, and I keep them model train or train related to justify putting them on a model train channel. But it is my attempt at trying to be funny, and it's just something I've done my whole life. People say, hey, how about doing this song? How about doing that song? And I sometimes will just ignore the suggestion. Sometimes I'll answer back. So I'm just going to answer this because somebody emailed me after we put up 2 videos this week of new song parodies. They said, hey, you know, I suggested a song last year and you've never done it. And so, you know, you're trying to be gentle, but I don't work that way. I don't grab a song and say, I'm going to make a parody of this song. So, you know, and the thing is, at least 5 people have suggested songs to me just yesterday and this morning, and I don't want them to think I'm talking to them specifically personally because it happens every time I do parody songs. So it's not personal against anyone in particular. It's just in general, I do get these comments, and I'm like, okay, no. So what happens? I'm listening to music and I'll hear the same song over and over and over again over a couple of week period because I'm in a certain mood, listen to certain songs, and I'll hear it a few times. And I don't make jokes. I don't sit down and say, I'm going to make a parody of this. No, just out of the blue, a random joke line will enter my brain. I'm listening to a song, and bam, what I do is I kind of stop in my tracks if I can. If I'm driving a car, then I've even at times told my kids, hey, grab a pen and write this down for me. But I'll sing the joke lyric. And of course, while I'm singing the joke lyric, the song is progressing and my brain's trying to come up with more lines while I'm doing it. But anyhow, and by the way, in real life, it's not just train songs or train jokes that I make. I'll do politics, I'll do social, I'll do it in a funny voice. I do all kinds of quote. I've done this my whole life. Joyce and my kids have had to suffer through it their entire lives. But I will listen to songs hundreds and hundreds of times and never make a joke or do a parody of it. And then one day a joke line comes in and I'll see what I can do. And then my creative writer side says, how far can we go with this? Okay. It strikes random. It's a lightning strike. You don't know where or when it's going to hit. But when it hits, I see where it goes. So, very rarely, boom. Now, 99 times out of 100, that line comes, and if it's train related, okay, you know, because again, it's not always train related. But if it is a model train related joke that comes to me out of the blue, I will see how far I can go with it. And I might even replay the song a few times because I want to see how far I can go with this. Sometimes I only get that one line and then I'm sitting there trying to come up with another line and it's like, nope, it's not happening. Because the first thing I do is I write it down. Even if I'm out somewhere, I'll text in my phone, text it me, and then I come home and I got notebooks everywhere, and I write it down. And then if I have written 2 or 3 lines where I think there might be something here, I will transpose it to my computer, and this is how it looks. So what you see here is this is my computer file folder, my Microsoft Words program called Pun Songs. And anytime I get an idea for a pun song, I write it down on paper, which I'll explain in a minute, and then I put it in the computer. And what I do is, in the computer, the first thing I do is I go online and I grab the actual lyrics to the song and I copy and paste them into this program, into this Word file. So here you can see, just as an example, I've got the Beatles song A Day in the Life, the last song on the Sgt. Pepper's album, one of my favorite all-time songs. Now, a few weeks ago, just before I went to Germany, I saw the song A Day in the Life and my brain immediately went A Day in the Loft. Okay? Now, I've listened to the song 1,000 times since I've been into model trains. And it was the first time anything came in. I might have been watching Lee Anfield in the Road lay out in the loft, and I thought, a day in the loft. Or maybe I heard him say, I'm going to spend the day in the loft. And my brain just, whatever it was, I was listening to the song and made a connection to being in the loft. And I said, A Day in the Loft. So, that's a funny title. That's a funny model train title. So then I came up with the actual line is, I read the news today, oh boy. So I changed that to, I ran my trains today, oh boy. And 6 weeks later, I haven't been able to come up with anything else. Now, I'm sure some people might be trying to come up with stuff, but my brain has to decide, where's the story going to go? How's it going to match the song, etc. But so this is how it starts. And what I will do is I will leave this here, and then every now and then I'll come back to it and I will sing the song and I will listen to my joke line. Sometimes I'll have a joke line there, and I might have another joke line like he blew his mind in a car, and I might have another line here where I've replaced that line. And then I've got to see if I can link them and follow rhyme scheme and singing pattern and everything else, which I'll talk about in a minute. So this is how it begins. This is the germ. And then I decide, do I have something to work with? And if I have something to work with, I keep going as I have time. So it starts as a crazy idea. I write it down in my notebook, and I have all kinds of these notepads all over my house so that there's one nearby whenever I get an idea, Matt Clark idea, song idea, some other joke, and I just write them down. So once I've copied the original lyrics, as I rewrite the song, I replace the original lyrics with my lyrics. But before that happens, I go back to the notebook. All right. And what I do is, now I don't have these written. I don't even know where I wrote those right now, but I'll give a different example of a song I wasn't working on, but it's just an example. I write the lyrics out and I mark the vocal rhythm of the lyrics. What's vocal rhythm? I got to take you back to high school in English, and I want to do this fast. All right. Vocal rhythm is when we speak, naturally we speak arrhythmically. We talk in a non-rhythmic pattern. But to a degree, when we talk, we do try to alter our rhythm so we don't become monotone where we are talking. In fact, if we talk in a consistent rhythm, it can get boring because we are talking this way. So we talk arrhythmically because it forces the listener to kind of keep their brain focused. But anyhow, what I do is I take the original song, and here's a song by Eric Burdon and the Animals from the early 60s or mid 60s. We got to get out of this place. So there's a line. Here's two lines here. Hopefully you can see this. In this dirty old part of the city where the sun refused to shine. Now, you will see I wrote some marks over there, some slashes and U's. The slash means it's a stressed syllable, meaning we say it harder, and the U is unstressed, meaning we don't say it as hard. And we teach this in high school. I have a master's in English literature, and I taught this in high school for years and tried to do it in a way that students didn't fall asleep. But when you're singing part of singing is that you take the normal way you talk and change it into a rhythmic way. The arrhythmic normal speech becomes a rhythmic singing. And so you have to choose words that match the pattern you're trying to sing, usually the music you're playing along. But you create a rhythm with your voice, and you create that rhythm by mixing stressed and unstressed syllables. Now, if you don't understand stress versus unstressed, think of, here's two words. One is dirty. Dirty. Anytime you have a two-syllable word, one syllable is stressed, one syllable is automatically unstressed. Dirty. Now, when you say that word, which part of the word do you hear being pronounced more strongly? Dur or T? Dirty. Okay? I didn't say dirty. I said dirty. In fact, if I say it the wrong way, it sounds wrong. Dirty. Dirty. I'm stressing the first syllable. Okay? Some words you stress the second syllable. Forgive. Did you say forgive or did you say forgive? We will forgo this. I said the go part harder. That's stressed and unstressed. Well, what happens is you create a pattern. And the pattern you create is called a foot. Okay? The pattern you create is called a foot. And there's many different kinds of foot here that your teachers might have tried to teach you in English class in high school. For example, you have unstressed, stressed, repeated is iambic, stressed, unstressed is trochaic. You can have stressed, stressed, and unstressed, unstressed. You can have unstressed, stressed. Yeah, there are even 3 patterns, and I'm not going to teach them all. But iambic and trochaic are the 2 most common. Stressed, unstressed, or unstressed, stressed. And if you look at this line, you'll notice that I marked it in this dirty old part of the city. It goes stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, stressed, unstressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed. Now you go, there's not really a pattern there. Well, really there is. It's stressed, unstressed, which makes it trochaic. It's stressed, unstressed. We call that trochaic. But it went stressed, stressed, and unstressed, unstressed. Yes, and what happens is the singer will sing those lines to try to force them to fit. So what he does is, like old, where old is in front of dirty, because old is a stressed syllable. In this dirty, old part, those are both stressed syllables. But he'll say old in a way that it puts an invisible unstress in this dirty old part of the city. See how he lengthens out old? He puts an invisible unstressed syllable in there so that it doesn't sound chop chop. You know, dirty old part of the city. In this dirty old part of the city. So he intentionally lengthens the syllable out as he's saying it to eliminate or maintain, I should say, the integrity of the rhythm. So he has that rhythm. We call that pattern you're repeating. We call the pattern the foot, and then how many times you repeat it is the meter. So if you remember something in high school, iambic pentameter, what that meant was that the person was going unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed rhythm. The foot was unstressed, stressed being repeated, and how many times it's repeated in a single line is the meter. And so pentameter, penta means 5. So it just means you went unstressed, unstressed, stressed 5 times. That's iambic pentameter. Tetrameter is when you do it 4 times. In fact, that song I was just doing is trochaic pentameter followed by a line of trochaic tetrameter. It's 5, 4, 5, 4. 5 meters, 4 meters, 5 meters, 4 meters when he sings. You can do that pattern as well. You know, you can do any pattern you want, but the idea is you have a pattern, you're repeating it. All right. So the thing is, when you're writing lyrics, you create a rhythm. So that leads to the step I want to talk about. As I go through these songs, I match stressed and unstressed syllables. And what that does is it forces you to put words in certain places so that they can follow the same pattern. So that will lead me to a little bit of a discussion here. Hopefully I can keep it short. When you're doing a parody of song, there are 2 ways you're doing a parody of song. You're either making fun of the song itself, in which case everything I'm about to say doesn't apply. You're making fun of it by singing in a funny voice, or by taking a heavy metal rock song and doing it as a lounge. All we are is dust in the wind, And so you don't have to follow the integrities. The way you're performing the song is the comedy. But when you're doing a parody song, and I like to call those satire songs, when you're doing a parody song, there are three integrities you have to pay attention to. There's the integrity of the music, the integrity of the vocals, and the integrity of the emotion. All right. When you're doing a parody, the second form of parody, where you are using the song to make a joke about something else, you have to follow those three integrities. When you're making fun of the song, you don't worry about these three integrities I'm going to teach you. All right, so let me go over these three integrities. Integrity of the music is, if I'm going to use a parody of Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here to make a joke about a train you ordered and it's never arrived, wish it were here, to sell the idea it's a parody and that this song actually was done this way originally, because that's what you're doing with the parody, is you're taking this song and saying, actually, here's the real version of it, in a subconscious sort of way. You're taking this parody. What you do is you need to make sure the music sounds as close to the original as possible. That doesn't mean you have to sound exactly like it, but you want to sound as close as possible. So when people hear the melody and the rhythm, they immediately know that song. And there's a difference between immediately knowing the song and recognizing it. You can recognize, wow, that sounds like Wish You Were Here, but it's being played differently. You want people to go, Wish You Were Here, and they're straight into it. So you want the same, play speed, as much of the same instrumentation as possible. The more you respect the integrity of the music, the better the parody will be. The next one is the integrity of the vocals. Now, you are writing new lyrics to a song that already had lyrics. In fact, sometimes that's even harder, because you're not writing a new song where you've got your own musical melody and then you can fit the words as you want into it. You're taking somebody else's already established melody and already established lyrics, and you're taking those lyrics out and putting your lyrics in. And therefore, you have to follow that pattern I was showing you, that stressed and unstressed, or unstressed stressed pattern. You have to follow this as closely as possible. Otherwise, it doesn't sound right. So not only does the music have to sound accurate, the way you're singing the lyrics has to sound right. And this is where Weird Al Yankovic is the greatest, and why he's the one person doing parody songs that made it into $1 billion life, because he is so precise. He gets the music sounding exactly like the original, but then he literally goes syllable for syllable and matches them precisely, but then he takes the integrity all the way that he sings exactly like, not mimicking their voice. He mimics the intonation, so that when a singer takes a word like, Don McLean's American Pie, do you believe in rock and roll? The way he sings those lines in his own parody. Do you believe that this here kid could? He matches all the odd intonations, vocal inflections, accent, and rhythm. Vocal rhythm. And he does it to 100% exact standard. There are very few main songs that Weird Al has done, parody songs, where he's not 100% accurate. And that's why he is so amazing for the people that like him. Even if you don't like him, I don't care. It's why he is the one guy, because he does it at such a level. Nobody had ever done it that level before. I mean, he didn't invent the genre. Comedians have been doing it for years. Centuries. But he does parody to such a high level of respecting the integrity of the song that he sells it. Literally, he emotionally sells it, but he check to the bank sells it as well. He's made millions doing this. All right, so that's the second integrity. But he takes beyond just matching the lyrical and vocal integrity. He matches every odd little inflection where it occurs in the song. Okay. The third integrity is emotional integrity. You've got to sell the emotion of the original song because it's that change in topic that's the real parody. Yes, you can tell jokes, you can do joke lines that are funny, but where it works is the emotional integrity when the emotional destination of the song is mirrored in the parody. And what do I mean by this emotional integrity, emotional destination? All right, let's take Don McLean's American Pie. This is a song about confusion, about how did things get this way. It's a song that starts off in the innocent 50s, but starts with a tragedy. Here is a point where everything went wrong. Buddy Holly and these guys died. Of course, he never mentions Buddy Holly. He just calls it the day the music died. The emotional intent of that song is the sort of the sense of chaos. We had this innocent beginning and now we're in the mess. He's taken the innocent 50s, plane crash, and then the 60s, the Beatles and Vietnam and the war protest and the clashing, and he mixes it together in such beautiful lines. Like, I mean, there's not a better poetic line. I don't care who the great writer is. But there's probably not a better portrayal of what the 60s and maybe what we're going through today is than the line where he goes, the halftime air was sweet perfume while sergeants played a marching tune, which is a double pun on Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's album, as well as at the same time there was the song of the Green Berets by Sergeant whatever singing, while sergeants played a marching tune. The players tried to take the field. The marching band refused to yield. What an epic explanation of the clash that was going on in America in such a poetic line. It's a beautiful piece of poetry, one of the best written in the 60s. Anyhow, the emotional impact is we had this what seemed like innocent time, and now everything's chaos. Weird Al takes the movie The Phantom Menace about this cute little kid, and it wasn't the world's greatest movie anyhow, but this kid that's going to grow up and become Darth Vader. He's this cute, innocent kid, and he goes on a bunch of crazy adventures. Something happens. He's got this innocent life, and then bam, this event happens, and his life spirals into confusion. So Weird Al takes this very strong, emotional, impactful, very serious emotional intent, and the parody is he takes that same sense of things are going to spiral out of control or have spiraled out of control, but he makes it about the silly space age movie, and then he puts enough joke lines in it that reference the movie and the story of the kid that we laugh. Both the lines are funny, but the reason it is so brilliant, in my opinion, is because the emotional integrity is maintained. He doesn't change the emotional integrity. Okay, so when you're trying to write a parody lyrics, you got to do, you really have to respect those integrities. I'm not saying you got to do it to certain high levels, but you've got to show you respect those three areas, because otherwise what you're attempting to do with the song, there's a reason you picked that song, why that parody came to you, and so you've got to do that. So I do that. For example, my song Everard Junction, which is not about Everard Junction, despite its title being Everard Junction. There's nothing in there about Richard other than his name and the title of his channel. It's a song about a sycophantic fan who wants Everard to explain to him, how can I become as great as you are? Which is the same emotional integrity and intention of the original song Paperback Writer. It's a guy writing to a publisher saying, I've got this work here, I think it's really good, but I'll change and do whatever you tell me to do because I want to be big and famous just like you. I feel like I did a great job maintaining the emotional integrity, the emotional destination of the original song in the parody. It's just that I took this guy desperate to be a writer to a guy desperate to get advice from a YouTuber. Okay, that's the funny, the juxtaposition of that emotional content. Um, so this is how the process happens. So once a song and idea comes to me, you've seen I put it in and I work on the lyrics and I work the lyrics and I work the lyrics and I try to tell a story that matches the emotional integrity of the original song. Okay, you get all that. So once I have written the lyrics and I'm happy with them, and that takes a process, and I try to show you with that little bit from here, that I go through the process of replacing lines. Like I can go back here and like here's the song "Tempted," which we already done, but I had rewritten all the lyrics, and yeah, I tweak and go, oh wait, this line doesn't quite fit, but I also got to tell a story. So I will go back and change words to help fill the story in. And sometimes the only thing that works is not the best line I could have used there, but it's the only line that fit the pattern, the rhythm, and then you kind of have to work it into the story somehow, and again, if somebody takes more time, maybe they could do a better version of doing Tempted as that. Once I have a song I'm happy with, then the big fight is who's going to sing it, because I don't want to sing it, and I'm hoping Joyce will. And if Joyce is willing to sing it, it's when Joyce has time and is in the mood to sing it, because those things don't necessarily line up easily. Anyhow, I have a song. I want to make a video. So what do I do next? So the next process is I've written all the lyrics. You've seen how I go through and try to mark it all up. We go to my editing software, which is called Nero. So I'm going to bring this up. This is a program called Nero. It's an old program. It's out of date. Actually, it's a new program. This is the 2023 version. They haven't updated, really cleaned it up, other than making it 4K useful. It doesn't have all the magic tricks that a lot of the movie editing software out there now has, Power Director and all those iMovies, Movie Maker, paid versions, etc. But it's like an old glove. It just fits, it works, I know how to use it. Anyhow, I import, first step is Joyce comes down and records. This is the only input Joyce has, is everything else is me, writing it, conceiving it, writing the lyrics, building the video afterwards. She comes down, if she's going to be the singer, she comes down and we record. And what you got to know about Joyce is Joyce has asthma, pretty bad asthma. And so singing is not easy for her. I think she has a great voice, but at times her asthma can make her voice a little weak. And if there's a lot of words in a couple of lines, she can run out of breath while she's singing. But anyhow, she comes down. We don't have a production studio, okay? This is not sound friendly. We have a quality mic, but it's not the super high-end expensive recording mic, okay? And we pop the lyrics on, like you could even see there are lyrics here from the last session she did a few days ago. And then we will listen to the music, and we go through steps. First of all, she reads the lyrics. Then we listen to the actual song a couple of times, just so she can get the vibe and how the guy's singing again, because she knows all the songs. But she listens to it a couple of times just to get the vibe. And then we listen to the instrumental version, and she'll do a talk through with the new lyrics. Just so, is there a part where she might get tongue tied? Is there a part where where it doesn't work with the way she sings or talks, where I might have to suddenly at the last second change a word or a syllable around, just so when she's singing it, she can flow it better. And then when she's ready to go, we hit record on OBS, and we record audio and video through OBS. We don't need the video, it's just we record it anyhow, because in the next step. So once she's done a version and she's happy with it, and she'll do a couple of practice takes without filming, and then she will start official takes where we're filming and recording. But she has to be happy. Now, all that aside, when we have versions she's happy with, she's the final arbiter. She decides if she likes that version. Usually there's 2 or 3 versions we like, 2 or 3 takes we like where she gets through it. But she'll often get through a take and I'll say, that's great, thank you. And she'll, nah, I didn't feel like it. Let me do one more. Okay, so usually we get at least 2 takes that are quality takes. But usually it's, I keep saying usually, a lot of times we'll get a couple good takes. But usually there's one where she went straight through because she always wants it straight through rather than me splicing different parts together. So anyhow, we will bring it down. We bring it into the program and we bring it down here. And what I'll do is I will scan for where I see her start singing because obviously there's music playing, intro music, whatever. We're bantering around, psyching up. So you can see right about there she's starting to sing. So I'm going to keep going back till, okay. So right about there, it looks like is right before she started singing. And then I do 2 things. I will obviously cut it down to that point, and then I no longer need the video part, so I will cut off the video and remove it. So now I'm left with an audio track. Now I will do fine tuning, like get it down, because to make this work I have to get it down to, as soon as I click it, her voice starts. I have to get it to that 100th of a second moment where
yourself more trains and you got more track. Add another line, run it in the back.
So I will fine tune it until I get right to, as soon as I click it, she would start singing. There's probably about a 1/10 of a second to half a second where it's still quiet because I have to get it. So when I put, because the next thing I'll do is put the audio track in. Once I have this set, I'll put the audio track of the song, which I'm not going to do here because I don't want a copyright claim on this video. I'll put the audio track in and then I'll line it up with her voice. But 2 other things I'll do is that usually the audio track, which is very powerful music, and her voice on a single track is usually kind of weak because of her asthma. She doesn't get a full projected voice in. And she's usually sitting down when she sings, and usually it's better to be standing up when you sing. But anyhow, so what I'll do is 2 things. First of all, I can click on this, and if I go to the effects palette, you can't see what I'm doing, but over here, I can put this over here for now. I will increase the audio volume. I'll increase the decibels a bit. I could also just decrease the music level, but instead I increase the audio on her singing. So now it'll come out louder.
Found yourself more trains and you got more track. Add another line, run it in the back.
Okay, so it sounds better. She sounds a bit louder. The problem is with music being very full and her voice being a little weak, even louder, it's still kind of weak. So what we'll do is what we always do. Whoops, I'm doing this on the wrong screen. I will copy this and I will move it's just one of the weird things. But what I'll do is, it's not officially double tracking, but it is double tracking. I will double track her voice so that what this does is it makes her voice sound fuller. Even though it's her with kind of a soft voice twice, by doubling it up, it actually makes it fuller. It's not technically double tracking, but it's close. It's the same idea.
Found yourself more trains and you got more track.
So if you hear the difference, she's not any louder, but her voice is stronger by double tracking. And triple and quadruple tracking don't seem to do it, but it is doubling it up seems to really bring it out full. But if I triple or quadruple track it, it doesn't get any better. It's just the double track here works. And if I truly want to double track, I'll take another version of her singing and line it up with that, and then you get the version we did of this where we actually double tracked her voice, because technically what I did there is not double tracking, even though it is double tracked. Double tracking is where you actually sing a second version of the song as close to the original version as you can get, but it will still sound as though 2 voices are singing. This is one voice singing, it just sounds fuller because it is the exact same rendition. Because anytime you sing a song, you never sing it exactly the same way or even the exact same key and pitch. But the idea is when you're double tracking, you get close. It'll sound like 2 people, singing, but it's the same person twice. Like there's a clone of you singing at the same time. All right, anyhow. So we'll have the audio there and there's the vocal. And then it's just add the pictures, just add the video. And that's the hardest part. It's the longest and most tedious part. It's the part I hate. I also add I actually at this stage, once I've got the music and the vocal adds up, I then add the lyrics. You know, we put the lyrics on there. And that's it. I just add the pictures. I try to tell a story with the pictures that matches the song and creates the emotional integrity. But I'm really considering just doing with any more, not doing the video part, just doing them as lyric videos where just the lyrics come up on screen and there's no picture, because it's getting harder to do the video. It's getting harder to do the video to the song, because I've got to search YouTube for every little video, and maybe I should change it, save a bunch of my videos, but I would have tons of flash drives and portable hard drives filled with 10,000 videos. But I say, I need a video of this, I want it to look like this, and I try to use my own now. And the reason I'm saying all this is because nowadays, both on YouTube and on Google image search, if you type in a search for something, they give you all the copyrighted and paste stuff first, because Google is in league with these companies. Their names splayed all over it, ruining the picture. And it's just so hard that it's taking more time, and it's gotten tedious to just constantly cut and edit. Because what I do is, once I get the pictures and images I want, you know, I can just go to my media and like, okay, here's a train video. Now, first thing I have to do is remove the audio. So unlink audio and video, and now I'll delete video. Remove from track. Okay, so now I've got, and I'll throw it in here, but now I've got some video to go with the audio. Now, I'm not trying to match this video to the image, but this is how it works.
Found yourself more trains and you got more track. Add another line, run it in the back.
Okay, and in short, that's how I do it. I just have to search for dozens and dozens of videos and pictures and try to find the images and videos that help sell the story the song is telling. You know, and the video we just did, the Steady As They Roll, the pun on Steady As She Goes, the song I'm demonstrating here, which went up a few days ago. Everybody thought the video was supposed to be about how my layout grew. It was just, I used my own pictures because I just was not finding exactly what I wanted in pictures on YouTube, and I just happened to go into my old files and find a bunch of pictures on different stages of my layout. And so it's not necessarily a video or a song about me building my layout. It's just about anybody's compulsion of constantly adding on and rebuilding. And you got to understand the emotional direction of the original song, which is about becoming, it's about a guy, you know, life expects me to get married and do things this way, but have you fallen into the trap, or have you avoided the trap? By getting married, have you fallen into the trap, or have you avoided the trap? You know, which way is it? So this is the idea. By getting into model trains, have you fallen into a trap, or have you avoided a trap? And it's not necessarily supposed to be, but a lot of people are interpreting it as, oh, it's cool to see the progress of you. And I almost think that people thinking it's about the progress of my my own layout build, I think it detracted from what the song is more about. We do have a backlog because I have been writing a lot of songs, and Joyce was very busy, and then we went to Germany, and I, of course, then got really locked up on Matt Clark. We've got a few coming, and I go in spurts, and then the creative juices fall away. I don't know, but that's what I like about the about doing this over Matt Clark is I don't have a schedule when I have to get these out. It's as they come, and I can work on them and tease them along until I'm ready to go. It's just so happened that last week I have 10 songs ready to go. And there are different reasons they're not out. But yeah, we have, I think I have 10 songs. Well, we just put out 2, so let's say there's 8 more. 3, we just got to make the videos. I'm going to have Joyce singing hopefully today, do another one, maybe another one tomorrow, or maybe get 2 done today and have those come out over the next week or so. I don't want to flood the market, so to speak. But we've got a backlog, and I want to get Joyce singing them. And then we have a couple of songs that have been where they've been done from my perspective for over a year, and it was just getting Joyce to sing them. One of them is a very tough song for Joyce to sing, and I can't sing it. It just won't be, and it's an involved song. It's got triple layers of vocals, so we have to record 3 full takes plus backing vocals. But also, since we wrote the song, what the song is about, the situation has changed, and she's like, do you need to go back and rewrite this stanza and this stanza? And I will give you a little bit of the story. I talked to the people over a year ago. I wrote a parody song for Sidetrack Sunday, the Sunday night show. I'm very happy with it, the lyrics, and the 4 of the 5 people that responded said, yeah, we're cool with it. And the other person never responded, and but somebody else said, yeah, he's fine with it. So I was like, okay. The problem is 2 of the people that are mentioned in the song are no longer part of Sidetrack Sunday. So it's like, do I do the old version, or do I come back and write the new version that includes a new member? And of course, I'd have to get their permission, and I don't know who the new 5th version member is going to be yet. Plus, the role of the one person has changed. They went from being the occasional fill-in to full-time. And so, but I think it would be a hilarious song once we get it out. But for a year, and Joyce has just been hesitant to singing it. She just not sure, because it's a very, I haven't told you what the song is because I want that to be a surprise if and when we finally come out with it. But Joyce is very concerned about that. She can't sing it, and I know I can't. We have another song that is another situation where neither one of us feels we can sing it. We need somebody with a heavy rock and roll voice. Somebody that can really belt out. I mean, we need a Roger Daltrey or a Robert Plant. But be that as it may, so we've got other songs, and it's just a question of, there's a couple of songs where we can't find non-vocal. We can't find instrumentals without backing vocals, and we can't use the backing vocals. We've got one song we can't even find the instrumental for, period. And we would like to get it out there. And there are a couple of songs we just did and never sang, and now they kind of feel out of date. But there's one I think I still would like to do, but it's another song where Joyce thinks it's hard to sing. The lyrics are all written, but there's one line that is perfect to the lyric. It's vocal perfect, but Joyce keeps flubbing it. She cannot sing it, and I have changed the line a few times, but she still flubs it. And it's one of these really crazy things where we have tried multiple times to record it, and just it doesn't come out. We don't get past that part. And then we dropped it for a year or so here, but I'd like to go back to it. So we have a ton of songs. And it's hard to say. It's easier to tell you the ones I'm not looking back are ones that it's not that I regret publishing them, but they're not as well done as I thought they were at the time. Like there's one right away I can mention. The Elvis Costello and the Attraction song, What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding, and I did What's So Funny About Trains, Models, and Rail Fanning, however I phrased it. When I wrote it, I thought it was really funny. I thought it was kind of cool. And again, I wanted Joyce to sing it. She didn't want to sing it. It's like our 5th or 6th video I put up. But I went ahead and sang it, and The audio when I did it wasn't horrible. I mean, it's my voice, so it's horrible. But for some reason in the upload, it just sounds even worse. And I didn't care. I left it up there because I thought the lyrics were so funny anyhow. And looking back, the lyrics aren't as funny as I thought they were. I think there are some funny parts to it, but it's just not as funny as I thought it was. There's a couple others. There are some where I actually think the song is great, but my singing ruins it. The first one we did, the first one we did that I published publicly, because I did do a song for a friend, which really kind of started this whole thing off. But Bohemian Rhapsody, the parody of Bohemian Rhapsody, Model Train Guy Rhapsody, um, lyrically and musically, I think it's awesome. But my singing is just so freaking awful. But I think it's hilarious. And I think it's spot on. I think if somebody with a good singing voice sang it, it would be more recognized as one of my best parodies. Um, the analogs, the digital song, a play on Supertramp's The Logical Song. And again, that's a problem we run into is some people go, I don't know the original song. Well, I can't help that. But yeah, it helps the parody if you know the original. That's why we always put the title, and we try to put a link to a video of the original song. At least nowadays we do. I don't know if we did it back then. But I love that one. I think that one is a great rendition. Obviously, the biggest ones in terms of views and likes, Digital Killed the Analog Guy, which is maybe one of our best all-around funny. And it nails the three integrities. Its musical integrity is spot on. The lyric integrity is just spot on. And the emotional intent is spot on. I think we nailed it with that one. And it does have the most views, although that was helped because it was one of the songs the NMRA used during one of their COVID teleconferences. One of the big shots at the NMRA, somebody we knew was fairly high up and connected with the NMRA and told these executive officers about my parody song, and it fit the theme of the teleconference or whatever, and they emailed me and said, hey, we'd like to use your song. We're not paying you, it's already free out there, but we just wanted to say we thought it was great. Could we use the song? And I said, go for it. And that went from 300 views to 1,000 views in like 3 days. Now it's stuck at 1,200, 1,300 views because, again, nobody watches these videos because I'm a model train channel and people don't like the comedy videos. And because I'm not putting it out there in the comedy world, it's yet to have that person share it with friends. Because I do think many of these are extremely funny and other people think they're funny, but it's still a niche bit. I'm a model train guy who's doing bad pun songs. However, the one that seems to get the most comments, positive comments, although it doesn't get the most views, but it does have a lot of likes and loves, is Joyce singing I Still Haven't Found Trains I'm Looking For from U2's I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. But a lot of people have commented, that's my favorite. And again, a lot of credit goes to Joyce because we did that. I had it done, and then when we played it, Joyce said, it's missing something. And then she listened to the original and she said, that's what it is. It doesn't need double tracked, it needs a harmonizing track. She says, here, 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 and here, they sing a harmony. They do a vocal harmony. They sing this part, and then they harmonize it, which is different than double tracking. So she says, let me do a harmonizing bit with it, because she knows all that music stuff. And so she went back and sang a harmony that we then put onto it, and boy, did that really make a difference. As soon as we put it on, it took it to the next level. And I love listening to her sing it. I like listening to Happiness is a Warm Gun, but there's a problem where I kind of got the foot wrong. I took a syllable out in a place because she was stumbling over it, but then she sang it too fast. We needed the syllable in there. and we took it out, and she kept singing the line too fast, and she needed that space in there, that syllable in there, to do it right. And to this day, we're talking about just re-recording that one section and adding a syllable into it so that it fits the line better. But the opening bridge, well, we call it a bridge. The opening stanza and the end section are just perfect. She does a awesome rendition of it. But otherwise, my favorites are always the newest ones. I put them out there. I've worked them, and I'm eager to see people like them. But there are some. I mean, one of my favorites, I love She's Not There, although, again, in the upload, the vocals came out tinny for some reason. She sounds like she's singing in a tin can, and that's not on the actual video. But I like that one. I like Something Needs Repaired. I think that's one of the funniest videos we did, and her singing, and it's one of my favorite songs, Something Needs Repaired, is a Thunderclap Newman's Something in the Air. And I just think that's another one that we just nail it all the way through. It's still one of my favorites. I think her singing on it's fantastic, and I just think it checks all the integrity box, but it's never been one that really caught on with the people who do pay attention to our views. It never got dislikes, but it has definitely not gotten the love other videos have, other songs have, and I don't see it as being any less impressive than I Still Haven't Found Trains I'm Looking For, which gets a lot of public credit, or Digital Kill the Analog Guy, which has got the most views. But I think she does a special job on that. I'm in love with the newest The Way Joyce Sings, as we did double track on that one, officially double tracked. The Steady As They Roll, I love listening to that. I've listened to that 30, 40 times in the last couple of days, just because I love hearing the way Joyce sings it. It's really cool. But I've got a lot of songs I like, and there's a few that I look back and think they're not as good. And then there are others that I think are really good if somebody else besides me had sung them. So that's it. That is a 1 hour look at how I do these parody videos. People have asked, people have made comments, and I thought I would take the time and explain it, even though I know very few people will watch this from beginning to end. And I don't know where I can segment it, but I'll try to put some chapters in where if I'm babbling too much, you can skip and go to the next bit. But this is something nobody specifically requested, but I do get questions, I do get emails and comments, and I just thought I would try to answer it all here. So I will be popping a couple of more up here. I don't know if I'll get any more before my Friday live stream. I don't even know when this video will go up. So it might be after I pop another one. But until the next time I get to see you all, I will say Auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, and happy trains. Take care, everybody.